Welcome to your weekly Open the Door to Tai Chi lesson. Today we get to examine the small bite of snake creeps, pheasant stands. And of course, in the 24 form, we do those two movements on one side of the body and then on the other side of the body, right in sequence. I want you to relax right away. I know snake creeps is a more challenging movement, but as we're doing these bites, remember it's to help improve the overall form. And over all of this, as we're doing snake creeps, think about use consciousness, not strength. You don't need to muscle through this movement. If your flexibility is not as good as you want it to be, then shorten the movement just a little bit so that you're not trying to muscle through the movement. You need to be able to relax in this in order to improve it. Let's do the pheasant stands part first, because I want to circle back to our external harmonies. Remember, hands and feet coordinate, elbows and knees coordinate, shoulders and hips coordinate. As we lift into that pheasant stance, this is a very obvious coordination of hands and feet, elbows and knees, shoulders and hips. Even if you just practice side to side with your pheasant stands, trying to coordinate that motion. You know, it's very tempting to lift and then come into your whatever part of the pheasant stands that is, right? But think about the coordination. Practice elbows and knees, hands and feet coordinating with your pheasant stands. Now, we don't go side to side in the form like that with pheasant stands, but that's okay. This is part of our savor the bite. Chew on it slowly, break it apart. Snake creeps. Remember what I said at the beginning. I want you to relax. So as you do your snake creeps, slow it down. Just think about stepping to the back and turning. That's all I want you to do. Notice that coordination of the body through the dantian. You're using your rotation. If all the weight's on this right and you have your bird's beak, now this left does a clockwise circle. And then you do a horizontal rotation to finish out your snake creeps. Notice I'm not going very low. You don't have to go low with your snake creeps. Then you're moving your dantian over your base of support and allowing this right leg to become empty to come into your pheasant stance. Now, of course, as you get more flexible, you can learn to go lower. But this is the point. If that flexibility allows you to do that, but then you have to actually muscle into your pheasant stance, that's not necessarily a good thing. Remember, we want to use consciousness, not strength. So just practicing one side like this without doing it in the form, in the flow of the form, but thinking about that coordination of hands and feet. elbows and knees, shoulders and hips. As we do our snake creeps, again, we also want to remember to keep ourselves open and loose. It's tempting to be very close to the body, and because we're trying to keep ourselves balanced, right? But we have to maintain that openness to allow the energy to flow. We've just come from, as we discussed last week, an aggressive, very aggressive segment that kind of the mood of the form is changed. We're staying aggressive in our snake creeps, going into our opponent here as we come in and come closer to them. The idea of keeping the dantian as the leader. Remember, relax the waist. That's actually an important piece of our snake creeps because that movement helps us stay balanced. As our dantian is here over our base of support, then as we change, as we turn, then that comes over our base of support here. A lively energy lifting the crown of our head is very important, keeping our columns intact, because we don't want to get into a habit of doing snake creeps like this, just to make our hands go lower, right? This is not a good position. You don't want to do that. You want to keep those shoulders in harmony with the hips. You want to be able to keep that head lifted. If the lower body can allow you to go lower, then that's awesome. But you're not to break your columns like that. Let's go from the left kick, right? We've just turned. We're rooted in this leg. Remember, when we kick, we lift from the dantian. Now, as we form that bird's beak, we're preparing to rotate. So it's almost like I'm preloading this rotation as I step out and back and rotate into that snake creeps. Then I allow this right leg to become empty to come into my pheasant stance. So as I come into my pheasant stance, I want to allow that energy to flow into this motion. But remember, linked without breaks. We're not coming into our pheasant stance and going, ha-ha, I did it. You want to be balanced, but then you're going to allow that foot to tap. It's not a lot of weight in that right foot, because then you're going to turn. Because as you're in your pheasant stance, tap and turn. So let me do that again. I was a little bit off balance. Tap, and as you turn, you bring your left hand into your bird's beak, and then turn into your snake creeps, pheasant stance. So let's do that again as a flow so that you can understand how to connect those two movements. We've just done our left kick, forming that bird's beak, stepping out and back, snake creeps, allowing my dantian to come over that left, pheasant stance. Now tap this right foot, do a turn, and as you turn, you're bringing up that left hand into your bird's beak. Then you're stepping out and back and coordinating pheasant stands. So let's try that one more time. I want you to be able to relax. I said that at the beginning. I know this is a difficult section, and I know that when you turn into that left kick, your heart starts to race and you go, oh no, here it comes. Snake creeps. But overall, use consciousness, not strength. Turning, allowing that energy to flow, be relaxed through the movement, and coordinate. If you can practice relaxing as you go into snake creeps, pheasant stands, you'll be amazed at how much better it feels. And that's just a simple mindset, not allowing yourself to go, here it comes. You want to relax. Use consciousness, not strength. Think about, am I rooted and grounded? Are my shoulders in harmony with my hips? Am I keeping my head lifted? All of those things help you as I rotate into my pheasant stands. Am I leading from the dantian? Am I really considering substantial and insubstantial? If you can move through that with a little more ease, you'll start to relax and start to actually enjoy snake creeps, pheasant stands. So now, I want you to practice. I know this week is going to be a hard week for you, but practice snake creeps, pheasant stands. Resist the temptation to add other stuff. I really want you to focus on this little bite. It's an important bite, especially after the aggressive kicks. You're maintaining that physical nature of the form, this very difficult move, but you're learning to move into it using consciousness, not strength. So next week, we'll move on to Fair Lady, but this week, focus on the snake. I'll see you then.